Greetings once again, Retreat Church. As we approach our celebration of the resurrection of Jesus, I'm wondering how we're responding to him. So just take a moment right now as you listen to this video and think to yourself, based upon Jesus' death and resurrection, what is your current response to him? And I know a lot of things are shaping our response to Jesus these days. Maybe you're asking a lot of questions about what Jesus is up to. How is his work in the world being effective? What's going on maybe in your local church, maybe in your family, maybe in your neighborhood. But we all have this opportunity right now to allow our response to Jesus to be shaped by something bigger, by something greater. And there are three stories in the book of Mark in chapters 8, 9, and 10 where Jesus plainly tells his disciples that he is on his way to Jerusalem, and that in Jerusalem he will be betrayed, he will be crucified, and he will rise again on the third day. Mark says that Jesus told them plainly. And in each one of these stories, in Mark 8, 9, and 10, there is a response to Jesus from his disciples. The first one in chapter 8 is a rebuke. You know the story. It is a gentleman that always puts his foot in his mouth in the scriptures prior to the arrival of the Holy Spirit. His name is Peter. And Peter pulls Jesus aside and he rebukes him. And he says to Jesus, "May that not be." And so Peter's response to Jesus is no. What you're saying, God, what you're saying, Jesus, is not going to happen. We move into chapter 9, and Jesus once again tells his disciples that he's going to go to Jerusalem and be betrayed and crucified on the third day. He's going to rise again. And on that occasion, there's just confusion. They don't understand. Mark plainly says they're confused. They don't understand. But the subsequent conversation then that stems out of their confusion is a conversation among themselves, who's the greatest. So Jesus is talking about going to Jerusalem and being crucified, and they're talking about who's the best disciple, who's the best follower of Jesus. As we move again into chapter 10, we have Jesus doing the same thing. Once again, we have Jesus telling his disciples that he's going to go to Jerusalem, be betrayed, be crucified, rise on the third day. And on this occasion, when you put the story of the account of Mark and the account of Matthew together, it seems that John and James have their mother go to Jesus and say, "Hey, when you enter your kingdom, can we have the places of power?" And Jesus tells them that that's not his to give. But Jesus then talks to them about the response of servitude. And in fact, that response of servitude is in every single story that I've just alluded to. And then this whole section is summed up by the story of the healing of blind man Bartimaeus. Now Bartimaeus is sitting on the side of the road as Jesus is approaching, and instead of rebuking Jesus, instead of wondering who's the best, instead of asking for a place of power, Bartimaeus very simply cries out for mercy. And Jesus asks him, "What do you want me to do for you?" And he says, "I just want my sight back." And Jesus heals him. And in that account, how Mark gives us those three different accounts of Jesus talking about very plainly his death and his resurrection. And you have the disciples rebuking and seeking power and arguing over who's the greatest. We have this example of Bartimaeus crying out for mercy. So I know there are a lot of things in your life today and in mine. And we live in a society that is constantly comparing, constantly trying to be the best. Did you know that if you went online today, you can find a list of the top 10 churches in America? You can also find a list of the top 10 most influential Christian leaders, because we just simply cannot stop trying to be the best. We simply cannot stop trying to outdo one another and have places of prominence. But in your response this resurrection season, would you pray that God would help you to realize your great need And your great need begins with the request for mercy. We live in a society today, as I have said, and I think one of the greatest things that you and I can pray, one of the greatest things that you and I can ask for is God's mercy. God bless you as you celebrate. May your response to him be one that is considerate of how he has served you, and may it birth within you the same desire to serve him. God bless you. We'll see you next time.